My name is Jason Stauffer, and I am from High Spire in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, with the Amish.
So tell me about the story of how you developed a knack for artwork.
I honestly, I was obsessed with serial killers when I was a teenager. Horror movies, my favorite, well, still is original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they would say it was based on a true story. So I got some books, and I right away I read about Ed Gein and Albert Fish, and I'm like, dude, I was like kind of naturally talented. I just started drawing portraits, and people were like, wow, how long have you been doing it? And I'm like, a couple months. So, but yeah, and I just been drawing serial killers ever since. Been over 20 years now.
And you started when you were like a teenager?
Yes. Yep. 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 And up until a few years ago, I was always looked at as like a freak. It's a big Bible belt where I'm at, and like horror movies and rock and roll are of the devil and all that shit. So people frown on serial killers. Yeah. It's a little easier now though. My parents can't bitch as much because I got some artwork and books now. So
Yeah, that is a plus.
I'm a professional. I'm not just a weirdo anymore.
And you did some jail time, right? In which you like did artwork throughout your entire stint.
Yes. Yeah, I the most I ever did was 7 months. 3.5 was in the hole because I got caught making alcohol in prison. But I just kept doing like little time, no felonies. I was just a straight heroin addict for like 10 years, like so bad. All like I couldn't do anything but just stick needles in my arm. Like I wouldn't hold down a job. I wouldn't do artwork until I got into jail, cleaned up. And after years and years of that, man, I got tired of it. I was up near Philadelphia. I moved back out here in 2015. I got out of jail and like threw the needle away, and I'm like, I'm done. So I drink and I smoke weed. That's about my the demons I have left. They're definitely not like my heroin addiction, man.
So was your jail stints basically just what like possession of like drugs and stuff
I
like that,
Yeah,
paraphernalia?
I got two DUIs, and then like I couldn't stop doing heroin. That's like all I wanted to fucking do with life. Like it sucked, man. So as soon as I got out, like I'd still be on probation. I wouldn't even check in. I'd go straight to the man and cop dope. So there was no way I was gonna pass drug tests, and I just didn't care. I had very little hope for life at the time. That's why I started doing heroin. Honestly, I thought that was gonna be a way out without actually killing myself when I originally started doing it. Yeah,
Hmm.
and
Well, it's good you got
unfortunately,
out. Not a whole lot of people
I
do.
got out of it, man, and I got such a wonderful life now and tons of hope. I got a family and a house, and I'm doing artwork. It's great, man. I always, I'm an open book. I love to tell people, there's a much better life if you could. A life gets a lot better when you put some of that shit down, especially hard drugs, man.
Right, most definitely. So your style of art is more dark, true crime related. What draws you to the dark imagery and artwork?
I think a lot of it's really gory and shit, but like, dude, I'll draw a portrait of Albert Fish, and a lot of people just think it's an old man, but if you know the backstory, like that old man becomes so fucking creepy. Like you can draw all this really dark shit and know the backgrounds without having to draw it offensive, which I do draw plenty of offensive stuff, but yeah, I like the fact that you can just draw normal shit, and you don't know until it becomes creepy when you find out about the story and their background. Fish is always he's always been like one of the creepiest for me.
So there's a few pieces that would be considered more controversial, and the one that I can think of more than anything, like you were just talking about, is Albert Fish, and I think Grace
Mhm.
Budd is sitting on his lap, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you want me to
Which could,
grab it?
yeah, yeah, that'd be great.
That was actually I sent that out 2 years ago as our Christmas card to a bunch of people. Yes, I'm not very nice to Grace Budd. If this would have happened 5 years ago, I don't think I would have the balls to be drawing her like I do. But the cool thing about Albert Fish is it's 100 years ago. It's not like something fresh. You know what I mean? Grace Bud's parents aren't alive. Like, but yeah, this is, you see it there?
Yeah, yeah, I can see it. I can see it. So what's the inspiration behind that painting?
Dude, I just thought he would make such a creepy Santa Claus. um, I can show you two more that I think are that offend people a lot. And yeah, I'm in Facebook jail now for posting stuff. But this one, he's holding her severed head. And then I think this one's, and I do shit like, I look at things from both sides of the fence a lot. So part of me's like, man, I'm a badass artist and I have this idea. Then another part of me's like, man, that really is in bad taste. You know what I mean? So it's like, I see it both ways a lot of times. But that's a Grace Bud as a meat chart with the cuts and everything.
Hmm.
That one got me kicked out of some true crime groups.
So let's talk about the tabooest of taboo subjects, which is the glamorization of serial killers and criminals in general. So you openly talk about looking up to and glamorizing serial killers. Is that correct?
Okay, this is important. I would say yes, I glorify them, but I don't look up to them. I walk around dressed as Albert Fish with a nail-studded paddle. I'd be hard pressed to say I'm not glorifying them, but I don't look up to them. If that makes sense, it's not like, wow, I wish I could be like that. You know what I mean? And that's another issue where like I see it both ways. You know, I see when people get offended, but then there's the other part of it. You know what? I can't stop any of these people from having done the murders they did. So I'm offending people, but I'm not hurting people. And a lot of people have a problem with that. Just like being on Facebook jail pisses me off because nobody has to look at that. They can just unfriend me if you don't like what I'm posting. So censorship can bother me a lot.
So of course, you know the negative comments and reactions of that. What do you have to say to the people who think it's wrong and demeaning?
Uh, Basically, what I just said, and I honestly I don't like confrontation. So like I'll post stuff in a group and more than I even stick up for myself, a lot of other people will go after people that are giving me shit, if that makes sense. I don't really spend a whole lot of time arguing with people that think that it's wrong. Like that's their opinion. It doesn't affect what I'm gonna do. Um, and I'm not really out to offend people. That's definitely happens with my style of artwork. But I'm much rather into the people that are like, oh man, that's awesome, that's really cool. Like, and then I met a lot of friends with my band and my artwork through all this violent, dark artwork, and I brought a lot of people joy. Sent them pictures at Christmas, and we bond over this true crime interest, which is really cool. And that's the cool part. The people that don't like it, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing it for them anyway. So yeah.
So would you say the glamorization part is more like bringing the historical figures to life through artwork rather than looking at what they've done and like appreciating it, or I guess um like putting that in like a positive light, more so to speak?
Uh, yeah. Uh, my other thing is, people are always like, why? And, why all these horrible people? Like, somebody had to draw Hitler. Somebody has to draw the bad guys in history. We're just drawing, a bunch of other bad dudes that did bad things. It's historical, and it wouldn't it'd be a shame if nobody drew any of these guys and made books of what they did historically. I'm a
Right.
historian.
So being that you're a parent, when it comes to the child killers and rapists, does that change your thinking when it comes to the word glamorization of serial killers?
uh, That one's rough. It does make me think about it a lot. You know, I have a little girl. I love my family to death. Yeah, and you know, my band's named after a murdered little girl. So it's that's another thing that's weird. Um, and you know, I might censor myself more. I can do that. She's only 7 months old, so she doesn't know who Albert Fish is, and uh, being a parent, I do look at that stuff a little bit different. But as an artist, I haven't been able to just not draw ideas that come into my head, and I can always switch that. And I got another kid on the way. And you know, I'm into this dark violent stuff, but like I have my wife, my baby, kid on the way, three kitty cats, two puppy dogs, five snakes, a skink. All I want to do is hang out and with my animals and my kids and wife and just cuddle and hang out and play. And you know, I don't even like verbally like confrontation. So it's you know, I put off a different image with my artwork and my music, and some people don't know that. Once they get to know me, they're like, "Oh wow, you're just a fucking goofball." Like, yeah, that's me. But yeah, it's and that's another thing. I look at it both ways, man. Like a lot of my art, like as once my daughter gets a little older, like this stuff's coming off the wall. You know, a lot of the really offensive stuff will go into boxes.
Hmm. Um, how many paintings have you done to date, and do you have any favorites that you've done?
My favorite is with that I did with Nico, the Vampire of Paris, Nico Claw. I'll grab that one. Uh, man, I'd have to say at least 500 pieces of art. And that's Gacy Pogo I did with Nico. I did the drawing of Gacy, and he did him holding a painting of Pogo.
Hmm, that's an
So
interesting piece.
yeah, that one was fun. I enjoyed that one.
Have you dabbled in painting with your own blood?
Yeah, yeah, I do that a lot. Yeah, I just did that today. I could show you some if you want, or
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool. What's the process of doing that? I know you have to like drain the blood a little bit. Like, do you have to mix it
yeah,
with water
okay.
or?
um, so back to like I would be cool like draining or because a lot of people use needles because of my past that would really upset my wife. So I end up using an X-Acto knife and making a small incision in my knee. Is how I do it, and then I just grab it and paint. Maybe use some water to thin it. Uh, Jim Jones. Uh, Here's a pretty cool one I did of Jim Jones.
Hmm. And that's is that mostly all in blood?
Yeah, except for Jim.
Huh.
Jim was done in ink, and the rest was done in blood. I'll add a little bit to a lot of stuff.
So with the blood paintings, do you have to do like multiple layers of blood?
Not usually, honestly. Like and like a lot of stuff I'll draw and then I'll just add some to the mouth so I don't have to like bleed that much because I really don't like it. It's just I like drawing with blood. So putting yourself into the art, it's perfect for true crime and the people I'm drawing. A lot of times I'll just do their mouths like cannibals, like Albert Fish, and I'll blow dry it, maybe do 2 or 3 layers, and it's pretty good to go.
Hmm. So you also have a band, which is a little controversial as well, like your artwork. Tell me a little bit about that.
um, yeah, here, show you stuff. Uh, in 2015, when I stopped doing heroin and started staying out of jail, I met my drummer, and we have a band called 10-Year-Old Still. It is named after Grace Budd. I always thought this was for years before I got to do it. I thought it was a creepy concept. Again, you don't know if you know the story behind the name, but the name 10-Year-Old Still doesn't isn't as offensive as like cock grinding eater and cannibal corpse and shit. So I like the the dark meaning behind it. This is a painting. This is how I met Nico Claw. I saw his paintings and I got him to do the cover for our CD. So we do a little bit of live shows. We're working with a local record label now. I dress up as Albert Fish. All the lyrics are most of the lyrics are actually quotes by serial killers. So a song will be about Manson. It's called Something Witchy, and it's all quotes by him for the whole song. And then I actually have some actual convicted killers doing lyrics for us too.
Hmm.
So it's fun. We do some like local bar shows, nothing too huge. It's more of a for fun and a hobby. Like I'm a little bit more serious about my artwork than my band. But yeah, it's and we jam in my basement, so it's real convenient to roll out of bed and just that's our therapy
So
throughout
would you
the
say your
week.
band is kind of like comparable to like Macabre in the sense of like the serial killer
Oh yeah,
culture,
absolutely.
like mixing it into
Yeah,
music?
the guy that makes my Albert Fish masks makes props for them.
Hmm.
Rick Fisher,
Oh,
shout
okay,
out.
okay. Yeah, I know about Rick. That's interesting.
Yeah, I got a bunch of his masks around here. There's one Albert. I have three Albert masks. I have a normal one, and then I have one from when he got out of the electric chair. Sorry, my daughter runs around my room and well crawls around, puts everything out of place. It's her fault.
Does your daughter put the
Yeah,
masks on?
huh?
Does your daughter put the
Uh,
masks on?
nah, I'll let her play with them though. Yeah, yeah. I let her play with cool shit. There's one I made with actual goat teeth.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Huh.
But yeah, definitely a lot of death metal, some punk rock and whatnot. We mix it up a little bit, so that's fun.
So where can people find your work, follow you on social media, and purchase your artwork if it's their thing?
Okay. So if you, my Instagram is at stauffer.hard.art. Etsy is pen sketch hard. Facebook link is facebook.com Jason Stauffer 585. And we also have the band has stuff with Death Mask Records, and they have Instagram and Facebook. If you get a hold of me, I'm gonna keep posting all these different links, and I'm in the middle of working on a website for all my artwork, so I don't have to worry about being censored and kicked off Facebook. That happens way too often. It's hard because that's how I try to get people interested in buying stuff.
So before we get out of here, is there anything that you'd like to talk about or end with?
Yeah, I got to. I'm working with Serial Pleasures, Nico Claw. I got artwork in three of their books, and this month Nico is editing a book of over 400 pictures I've done over the years, some stuff I did in artwork, some drawings I've done with convicted killers. So this year I'll have my own book coming out. Super excited about that. Nico's been awesome and Serial Pleasures. I love working with him. So yeah, check all that out. And I'll be posting a lot about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show and giving your insight into your artwork and your band, and we'll have to do it again in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was looking forward to it. It's been a pleasure.